live. Once I click that button, I can't unclick it, Martin.
I don't have a bass like Keith.
Yo, man, just do your basic,
No. Well, Martin, Eddie Murphy. In the immortal words of Bill, oh shit.
Because I like when Eddie Murphy does a black guy voice, because that's what I do. When I'm doing a white guy voice, I talk like Eddie Murphy doing a white guy. And when I do a black guy, I'm doing basically a black guy that Eddie Murphy's doing an impression of. Yo, man, that shit ain't funny. Fuck you.
No, you actually turned into a black guy, Gary. You turned into the Moncrief cousin.
I know.
Tyrone.
Anyway, let's get this thing started here. All right. So,
so this is how it is, huh?
Yeah.
With Pop Culture Minefield.
Pop Culture Minefield. This is how it is. And I don't want to use that intro. What do I want to use? Oh, I'm going to use Tom's intro. Because this is Tom's song. I don't know if you've heard it, Mephisto. I love this thing.
Tumbleweeds roll, there's a tale of a hero, what a legend they told. His name was John Wayne, with a walk so tall. In a world of dust and desert, he stood above them all. He rode through the canyons with a six-shooter's aim, a star in the sky, but on earth he's the same. The Duke was big as a mountain and twice as strong. God help the man who did him wrong. John Wayne, ride that silver screen through the storm and the rain. You know just what it means.
That's it. I'll get us into this because that's a long song. I love that song. That's by our good friend Tom Connors. And we're here, folks. All except for Mephisto. Mephisto walked out. He says, "I'm tired of your shit." And he left. It's not my shit that he's tired of. He's tired of Anima's and Martin's shit. Because they're always giving him shit.
Shut up.
Oh, nope. He's coming back. What's up, Mephisto? You made it back. We couldn't start the show without you. We just sat here staring.
The camera's on the whole time, eh?
Yeah, baby. So we are here today to talk about what is considered by many, and I include myself there, the best superhero comic film ever made. And I tell you, you know, he put a bar up that's few people have come close to. I think Sam Raimi came close with Spider-Man 2, because I consider that the second greatest superhero comic film of all time, my personal opinion.
I've got a few that are up there. I'm not sure this one was the best one, but considered by many is never something that I put on myself.
It just means not an absolute, yeah. And you know, and I don't want to just ride along. I've always felt that way, and then I found out later, oh, I'm not the only one that feels this way. It's neat, because like, you know, someone asked me back in the '90s what I would consider to be the best Star Wars film. This is way before the prequel series, and I'm like, Empire Strikes Back, hands down. And then you find out later that there is an international voting as to what was the best Star Wars film, and Empire, hands down, just stomped all the other films because it is the best Star Wars film. And then when you come to superhero films, you got to look at structure, how close it is to the character in comics. And one of the only complaints you ever get about this movie is that that's not the comic book Lex Luthor. I said, well, that's not the character you need to focus on. You need to focus on Superman.
I have another complaint about this movie, and you know what it is, Gary.
That it's not gay enough? What?
Jesus, no. The whole turning back time, and then all of a sudden, instead of saving all these people,
that is something
that he can focus on her and have a chat on the side of the road.
And well, that was something. Hold on. I was about to explain to you. I sent you the script so you could read the shooting script. And the shooting script was not that film. That scene was taken from Superman 2 because he had already shot it. And Ilya Salkin and Warner Brothers wanted a stronger ending for the first film. So they took the ending of the second film, which is bad science. But that's comic book. Comic books don't have to be good science. They just have to be good fiction. And so they had him, to be honest with you, I wouldn't have had him do it around the Earth. That was ridiculous. He should have done it around the sun, because that is something that was being discussed for years. That's why they had it in Star Trek. They've used it 3 times.
It's not by
They used it
May
once
I?
in a
No, 4
movie.
times.
That's it.
4 times.
May I?
No, it was done in the series too. Slingshot around the sun. What?
Yeah, but he can do it. I don't have any problem with him doing it around the Earth, because he has something that the Enterprise does not
You are
have. Yeah,
changing the gravity.
wait.
We
has some-
fear.
Let me
fear
finish.
with
Let
the-
me
of the-
let me finish. He has something the Enterprise doesn't have, and it's infinite speed. The Enterprise needs the slingshot effect. He doesn't.
So again,
Now the gravity. That's another
planet.
whole.
it would ravage the planet if someone did that.
You
So,
are being technical about how he turns back time. My problem is he turns back time, undoes everything that he's done in that day.
Yeah,
saving all these people, and
That's
then-
not actually what happened. Hold on. Okay, so let's get back to the original script. The original script, there was no time travel. He didn't, but the order of the rescues were different. He actually saves Lois before Jimmy, because she's on the way to Jimmy. And he goes from Frisco to the desert to her, and then to the dam.
And
when he
there's
gets to
no.
this, when the second one goes off, he's not able to beat it. He does manage to control the blast with his super breath. And I think what it says he did, as I recall, is that he inhaled all of the atomic explosion, that he was capable of doing that. That he went to the center of the explosion and controlled the blast by breathing in.
He's gonna need some Toms after that.
Yeah, but he undoes all that by going back in time.
Lord
After
Thumb
that, all he does is save her and Jimmy.
and Tom
That's
Pake,
weird.
I like your way of saying it. Perfect cake with a cherry on top. There you go. That's a good way of phrasing it, Tom. Not bad for somebody that's from Belgium. I love you, man.
Oh man.
So, but that was, he saves everybody, and he couldn't beat the atomic bomb going off, but he was able to prevent it from sending radiation and everything by inhaling it into his body. But then the blast itself did the damage, and he had to go fix what was going on. What he didn't know is that Lois was in that car at that point. So he lifts it back up, and what ends up happening is her vehicle gets trapped down in there, and it begins to close back up because he's healing the earth. And he discovers this and goes underneath the vehicle and lifts the car up, all of the 1933 Superman cover, lifting it. And
Yeah, and then he
Studying it,
discovers she's dead and goes back.
she's
in
not
time.
dead. She's not dead. He
In the
saved her.
movie, it looked like that.
Stop it. I'm reading from the shooting script. That's what they shot.
I'm
They
talking
went
about
back
the
and
movie.
shot more. They changed it. Oh my God. Do you understand what sometimes you change shit in movies? They changed it because the studio and the Salkins agreed that they didn't like the ending. It wasn't strong enough. So they made him reshoot some stuff where she dies, and then they added the scene from the second movie of him reversing time, which makes no sense. There are so many problems in the script because what ended up happening is he rescues Jimmy and sets him down right next to Lois. That whole scene of him running up, that was a whole thing that was reshot. He sets him down next to her, and that's pretty much it for the action of the film. And they felt it was kind of a letdown ending. So the Warner Brothers and the Salkins pushed for additional scenes to be shot. And in the process, they ran into a lot of conflict with the director. And he got fired because of it. And that's why they had to hire Dick Lester. Yes, that's his name, Richard Lester, Dick Lester, to reshoot a bulk of Superman 2. And the reason why is there are rules within the Directors Guild that if they fire a director and there's a significant amount of footage shot for that film, that the second director doesn't get director billing. And in order to get Dick Lester to do the film, they had to agree to fund to shoot more of the film. And in the process, lost the rights to use Marlon Brando, because there was a whole lawsuit from Marlon Brando over that, because he got paid for one film. And they pulled a little shenanigan where they were going to use footage from the film that they shot with him for the first film in the second film. And I'm not sure if that lawsuit had anything to do with them firing the director, Richard Donner, or not. Because I suspect it did. That when he found out that they were firing him, then he got pissed. And is Dick related to Mo? Probably.
Yeah,
Mo
Lester.
Yeah, do not say it quickly. That could get us gigged by YouTube.
Hey, wait, allow me. Not only we have Nadia in the chat, but
Hey,
she
Nadia.
gifted 5 Pop Culture Minefield membership.
Thank you, Nadia. And we
Thank you.
didn't get to do our show last night because my dear friend Lauren ended up having to go to the ER last night. And I needed to make myself available. Not to mention, I made a joke about it that I'm an old mother hen. It's known, I've been like that my whole life, that I fret and worry and I can't sleep until I know people are okay. But it was scary last night watching because calling 911 was my call. I suggested, I said, yeah, go ahead, call 911, because I was worried that she was really sick. But it was just a bunch of little things that all happened at one time. And she's fine today, doing a lot better. Maurice Lester, there you go, Bush. Give him his video.
Yeah,
That
beautiful.
sounds like a Bart Simpson telephone joke. Is there a person like Mo Lester in the bar?
Yeah, I'm looking for Mr. Lester, Mo Lester. So, but in the making of this film, there were a lot of fingers in the pot at the end, and it ended up costing them their director. And I think that's why Superman 2 is subpar. And when we do Superman 2, which we will do, we will not be doing Dick Lester's version, though we will discuss it. We are going to be doing Richard Donner's director's cut of Superman 2, which I consider the superior film.
I don't know if I've ever seen it.
Oh, either version or one version?
Oh, I've seen Superman 2 many times. I just don't know which. Look, it comes on sometimes and I watch it. I don't specifically go and watch
I'll
Superman
make sure
2.
you get a copy of it, because if you watch it, it has a whole different feel. And he put the time travel thing back in there, as I recall. It's been a few years since I've seen it, but I do have Superman 2, the Donner cut.
I mean, the whole firing of Richard Donner didn't happen until they actually got to do some of the Superman 2 stuff. That's where
they'd already done those. It was all being shot at the same time.
Yeah, I know. It was shot.
It was
technically it was shot back to back. But by the time
some of it was shot during the shooting of this, like the scenes with Marlon Brando, and they ended up having to reshoot that because he refused to be in it and sued him. So no, that's not true. They were shooting it at the same time.
They shot a lot of the scenes in the Daily Planet from both movies at the same time because they were already in that set. So
they're already in that. It's like they wanted to save money to make two movies. And in the process, though, when they did the reshoots for the ending of Superman, there was a rift between Richard Donner and the Salkins. And it got him fired. And then they took, because he'd already shot a bulk of the film, Superman 2. And because they didn't want Richard Donner's name on it, they had Dick Lester agree to reshoot a bulk of the film. All they had to leave in there, I think, was 20%, and they were safe to put Dick Lester's name on instead of Richard Donner, which is a huge mistake because Richard Donner carried more weight as a director in the United States. I mean, he came off of The Omen to make Superman. I mean, he'd already had an Oscar-winning or an Oscar-nominated film. It did win for Best Soundtrack.
Well, I like Richard Donner for other things, but I
like everything he's done. I don't think there's anything he's done I didn't like. And he even secretly directed, I think it was X2, the second X-Men film.
Really?
I didn't know that, but
yeah, go look it up. It's basically they were having problems, and so Donner, and I do believe it was X-Men 2. Keith would know better. Him not being here bums me out because the stuff that I don't know, he knows. And that would be one where I would turn to Keith on that one. But I do believe it was X2.
You both had the entire encyclopedia, and he took half, and you took the other half.
Half, and I took the other half. And what's interesting with it is that because Sheila Donner, the producer of the X-Men films, was working on this, she had Richard there in her hip pocket. The problem is that Richard Donner is a Superman fan. He didn't care about the changes that were made to the characters for the X-Men. That was my problem with Richard Donner on that. So that's one of the few things where I was critical of him. I'm also critical of him of Lethal Weapon 4. I didn't like it very much.
Well, I like it more than most, I guess.
I like 1 and 3 the most, and then Lethal Weapon 2, and the last one would be Lethal Weapon 4.
You know what's crazy? I love Maverick, and we talked about
this. Oh,
yes. It's a Richard Donner movie, and what I love about it, it's sort of within the Donner verse or Donner universe where Maverick, the movie, not the TV show, but Maverick, the movie, could technically be in the same timeline as Lethal Weapon because they brought in Danny Glover to do a bit part, so a real cameo where he's the bank robber, and he robs the bank while Maverick is there, Mel Gibson's character. And they, at one point, Maverick looks at the guy and he's like, "Do I know you?" And he takes the mask off because he had like a robber mask, and he takes it off. And Danny Glover's character says like, "Hey,
I remember, yeah."
And they both look at each other, and they both do a head tilt, and you hear
I know you.
You hear the. It's very subtle, but you hear the jazz music that Lethal Weapon has for a split second.
Mark Kamen and Eric Clapton,
and then they say, "Nah." And when Danny Glover goes out and he climbs over the horse, he's like, "I'm too old for this shit." Yeah. And I was like, "Yeah, that's perfect. That's fucking perfect."
Yeah, it is. Oh man, Anma, you need to watch that movie. We'll watch that movie, Maverick. It's a good one. We need to do that one. We'll do that. I think that would be probably a Good Friday one because it's an older film. And it's based off of the TV series, which James Garner starred in. Yeah. And the thing about Richard Donner that I like, even though, look, he was a flaming liberal, but I have no beef with him. The guy was very subtle in his politics in his films, very subtle. And do you know how he would do it, Meth? Do you know how he snuck political stuff in?
No.
Like in Lethal Weapon series, look at the posters on the wall.
Oh, the stuff that I never look at, only when I do research on movies. Yeah.
Stuff about apartheid, in Scrooged, when you go into the office, with the control room for the show, when he breaks in there, is holding everybody hostage, that Bobcat Goldthwait, look at the posters on the wall. It's fucking hilarious. I think it's brilliant the way he does it. The only thing that he ever did that pissed me off in his movies, in Lethal Weapon 2, is where he refers to the bullet as the cop killer bullet. which was done for.
No, that's 3. That's 3.
that
The
3?
cop killers are 3. Yeah.
Yeah, the third one. When he threw that in there, I'm like, they're not. It's never killed a police officer. At that point, it had never killed a police officer. And it was talking about the fact that they had, I do believe they said Teflon in them that'll go through regular body armor. And so it's cop killer bullet. And it's like,
yeah,
well,
Teflon doesn't do that.
Yeah, it's like, I was just like, this is a weird bullshit thing. And I didn't like that. And they left out, oh, wait, did they may have added it in there, though, where they said one thing correctly and it let me forgive him. Because a majority of the illegal guns out there, and I don't know if you know this, the majority of the illegal guns that are on the street are guns that were supposed to be destroyed.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. That's
And
actually
that
that's an
means-
actual fact, by the way.
Yes, it is. And people don't know that. They go, well, make it illegal to get weapons and you'll control. Like, these guys are getting those guns legally, dipshit. Now I want to go back to this because I love this part of the film, by the way.
Wait, if you're starting with this part, could you just show my screen for a second there, Martin?
Yeah. I got it. There you go. That's the famous cover right there.
That is
And they
Action
wanted
Comics number 1.
Now they do 2 things in this film, but one of them we don't see. The first thing you see is he does something similar to that as a child when he lifts that Ford pickup.
Yep.
And holds it and saves
He's
Jonathan.
a fucking toddler, not just a child. He's like 2
And he's
years old.
adorable. Come on, he's
Yeah.
adorable.
That's a
That kid's
pretty baby.
adorable. And by the way, that kid is in Man of Steel. He's one of the soldiers.
Yeah.
Same
Oh.
actor.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
You didn't know that, Martin? Oh, I'm surprised. you didn't
I
know
knew that.
Yeah, it's he got to be in the movie. He was one of the soldiers saved by Superman, and he looks at him and nods at him. I love that they brought the kid into the movie. It's like in this film, there's so many cool things in this movie. But going back to it, and this is great artwork. What did you want to say about it, Matt?
No, you were talking about him taking out the car and having that moment like in Action Comics number 1. So I brought it up.
Yeah,
so
it's a beautiful
people could
cover.
see.
I mean, this is really well drawn for that day and age. Really well drawn. I like this. It's dynamic. It has action in it.
They fucked up the S though because they had to show the S.
Yeah.
They couldn't draw it from the side, so it's a little bit fucked up, but it's fine. This is
Well, they were
1938.
young. They were also young, and these artists weren't like guys like me that I can draw anything from any angle because I can see it. You see it in your head. You train your brain to think that way. What?
I'm
I
not
love
knocking.
I'm sorry. Go.
No.
Matt, go.
Okay, I'm not knocking this. Again, I'm not a comic book expert, really. But if you look at it, even at this basic form, and even though the S is a little bit fucked up, look at the shading that they did for this. It's perfect. You know exactly where the light source is coming from, and it's being consistent throughout this picture. Even though it seems like it's not, it's super consistent. You can see, I don't know if you see my cursor, but the sun hits the car here is a little bit strange, and here it's a little bit strange, but the angle is from here to here, so all the different shadings and all the different shadows are consistent. And it's pretty good for 1938 to make it consistent.
Because that was the infancy of comic books. It was in its infancy. So
You know what I like more about this cover, and it's a contention point, is the what the fuck expression that the guy in the corner has holding his own head.
yeah, he's like, "What's happening? What's going on? I'm losing my mind." So let's get back into this because I love this opening. And by the way, that's a new person I saw there.
Yes, that's a new person.
Sauron Baggins.
Welcome.
Yes, good to see you. Nice to meet you. Hope you have a good time chatting in the chat and everything. So June 1938, this kid's looking at a comic book, and I love that he opens this movie this way with curtains opening, the comic book, We hear the narration, and then we fade from the drawing of the Daily Planet to the cinematic one. And then we go past it. And we go into space. And we go all the way to Krypton.
Yeah, Bush has to go. So.
Oh no, Bush, take
Bye,
it easy,
Bush.
buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks
again,
for stopping by.
Always appreciate all the food porn you send us.
He goes to a
Oh,
good
that-
spot. He goes to Legal Vice's, I'm guessing, tribute stream or
Oh,
something.
wait a minute, you're leaving us to go watch somebody else? You son of a... No, go ahead, buddy. We'll see you later.
It's a YouTuber that died.
Did we lose another one?
Yeah, Jeff from Legal Vices.
Man,
He had a heart attack about a month and a half ago, I think.
Yes, Bush says we lost him in December.
Yeah.
I plan to die doing a show. That way,
No, don't.
it'll be
he's-
funny because you guys will be like, "Stop fucking around, Gary."
Mephisto, he has an even more fucked up version of how he wants to die, and I'm not going to tell it because
No,
it's not
no,
popular.
Oh,
true
he
story.
already has. So
True story. Girl says, "Well, how do you want to go?" I said, "I wouldn't mind dying underneath a woman." She's like, "Why? I mean, so you can like have had sex and died during sex?" No, I said, because that way I traumatize her for the rest of her life.
Sincerely hope it's not that 500-pound rapper that
Oh.
couldn't get a
Couldn't get a
that couldn't get a lift.
well,
He's making
that will
such
definitely
sure
kill you.
himself.
I'm sorry, I cannot take you with this. You're too big. You don't fit in this Toyota Corolla.
You were too
Sorry.
large.
You're too
Yeah,
big.
rest in peace, Clobby, and rest in peace, Jeff. I'm sorry to hear that. I did not know that. I didn't know him. I always
Yeah, it's
wanted to know
fine.
because I love talking about law. I actually really seriously considered going to law school. I didn't think I could do medical school past nursing, but I thought my brain is wired for logic. And so I thought, man, I can debate, I can argue, I should be a lawyer. And then I went, it's too much work.
Well, to be perfectly fair, he got his, I would say, start. Not really, but he got a big boost because he went on Nick Rekieta's streams when he did the Johnny Depp trial.
Yeah, the Rekieta
And
law all
everybody
that,
who
yeah.
were on Rekieta streams got like blown up, but he didn't use it as a crutch. He actually did he did a lot of his own stuff. He covered his own things. Every Monday he did, it's called Maritime Monday, where he just covered the law aspect of tragedies at sea. So sinking ships, all that stuff. So he had his own thing going, his own community. Everything was his, and he just passed away. I think he had a heart attack, but I'm not sure.
So I wasn't laughing at what you said because that was
No.
completely
I
inappropriate.
know.
I'm laughing
I
at
know.
what Tom Baker just said in the chat.
I know.
This is, yes, Gary, you can talk and communicate. Because that was, I made fun of him for it the other day.
That is your running joke now.
Yeah, it's this little joke between him and me.
Okay,
So,
let's talk about the movie. So
yeah, this is a bucket.
just to
this is
read
a
the
fire
script.
bucket.
Just to read the script,
Okay.
Marlon Brando asked and got $100,000. To be exact, it was $176,000 to read the script.
And then he was paid $1 million a day.
And they shot one day.
It was fucking crazy, dude. Crazy. But I wanted to point out that this is one of my favorite effects in this film that was done so simply. They had a big old school metal fire bucket. And they filled it full of liquid propellant and then set it on fire and filmed it slowly. Held the
Nice.
camera far enough away, zoomed in, and that's how they got this sun effect. Why it looks so fucking cool. And I was impressed with what they did. I'm just the way they did this whole fucking movie. what they pulled off with front screen projection.
The flying, man.
I loved the ideas behind using crystals.
Yeah, crystals as information,
As
like
everything.
Holding information,
stores.
it does everything.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
amazing the whole concept behind this in the film, because they played with so many different ideas.
And to be fair, I think Star Trek. Look, I haven't seen the original series too many times, but I don't remember if they even had a crystal system. So this might be the first time where you had a crystal system where it's.
This is all original for this film.
Okay.
It had
So-
never been done before, because they usually showed palatial buildings.
I'm pretty sure. So I'm pretty sure Stargate 1, so HG1 Stargate, the original series, the long-running show, rather than the movie itself, they had a whole thing where the big baddies, the Goa'uld, were having a technology that was based on crystals, which they kind of stolen from other races, but they don't mention the races, which puts them technically in the same universe as Krypton, but not really. But it's interesting. There's only a few shows or movies that have actually used crystals as some sort of a data storage or other capabilities beyond just looking pretty, I guess.
Yeah. Stellan Baggins, good point. One of the things that's pointed out within this story is, as advanced as the Krypton planet and society was, they still suffered to their own arrogance and hubris. That's why
Yes.
they died. But to go back to this, because I like to talk about how they pulled things off in this film. One, he did not study his lines. Marlon has a thing that he likes to do, where he has people that he's working with have large cards, index cards on their chest, hidden from the camera, with his lines, or having people right off camera holding up large cards, cue cards for it. And he did that for this film, that he didn't want to learn his lines because he had a philosophy in acting that he believed that the character should be thinking these thoughts for the first time. And the only way to pull that off was to have him on cue cards. So he's reaching what he's going to say next, is the way he phrased it. Reaching for the next thing to say because he's looking at the cue card the same way you would think that way. So, and I do believe it works. I'm telling you, in some of the films, like after 95, I think is when he started doing it, he would keep an earbud like thing in his ear, and somebody would say his lines to him.
Yep. He did that in The Island of Dr. Moreau.
He did it in Moreau. He did it in that heist movie. He did it with the Johnny Depp movie too. Margot. Oh,
Don't
what
remember.
the fuck?
I
The
don't
Great
remember.
Lover. The Great Romantic Lover. Can't think of the name.
Don
Good film.
Juan de Marco.
Don Juan DeMarco. Don Juan DeMarco. Thank you, Martin. The Score. Yes, The Score is the film where he had his lines delivered to him again through an ear piece. And
I always heard that it was just his excuse of being lazy and not wanting to study the
That's
lines
what I
It
was
very
thinking. I
well-
didn't want to
most
do it,
likely
but-
is that he's lazy.
yeah,
and,
but the excuse was I need to be in the moment.
And that's it. And look, it works. He did great performances in pretty much everything. And that movie, if you ever see it, The Island of Dr. Moreau, what a crazy, the documentary about it.
We
is
have
almost as good as the movie itself.
We have covered the movie on our show. Do you know where we do the behind the screens part?
Yeah.
That was most of the show because
Really?
it was so crazy. And there's so many different intricate things that they were like stuff that was going on behind the scenes. It just filled up the entire show. By the way, Marlon Brando wasn't the biggest problem. Well, he was technically the biggest problem because he was just so
Yes.
fat. But Val Kilmer was being a diva on its own, which was just
Whole
that movie
different level, too. Yeah.
is
His
a
behavior.
completely. Oh my god!
And then you
Plus,
find
it's
out the fire
it's an awful
director,
movie, by the way.
the fire director hid on the island.
On the jungle.
And,
Yes.
and then he disguised himself and became one of the monsters in the movie. And people are
Yeah.
like, what? It's in the making of documentary. It's crazy shit.
It's that whole movie is insane.
It is. And we should do it because I would love to talk about that movie again and go into
Oh
detail.
my god! Okay,
But with
I
with
think
Brando,
I still have my notes. It's
Yeah.
extensive.
Christopher Reeve, because Sauron Baggins just said it. By the way, man, I hope you subscribe and come back because you've got some good stuff here, my friend. Christopher Reeve, I don't know if he hated him, but he had a problem with him because when they did the scene together, Marlon Brando mocked him after the scene. And Christopher Reeve turned to him and said to him, I'm trying to do the best I can with what we're given. And Brando was a little taken aback by that and later wrote him a fucking letter telling him how he supports what he's doing. And if anybody's going to be able to pull off an idea like this and make it believable, it's going to be that young man or you, young man. And I thought that was really nice that Brando, he didn't have to do that. I just thought that was sweet that he wrote this letter to Christopher Reeve, basically apologizing for the way he conducted himself that day by, treating him like a second-rate actor, playing a stupid character. But oddly, though, in his performance in this film, he gave an air of legitimacy to this film by being the first character you meet in the movie. Now, there's this great moment here with Zod, also, and what's his name? The big mute guy.
Nog or Mog or
Nog. I think
None.
Yeah.
None.
None.
yeah, Nog.
So you see the hula hoop looking thing that's going around him is so simple, but it looks so cool. But when you get close-ups, you can see that it's vibrating. And the reason why is because it's very flimsily put together. It's got a weld. They took a ring that rotates and they put a giant hula hoop on it and welded it in one little spot going up at an angle. And then right at the peak, they welded another hula hoop. So as it rotates, it actually looks like they're spinning on each other. But in reality, it's just rotating. The whole thing's rotating. And it looks really cool. The other thing they did here was the again, this is rear screen projection with the faces of all these great fucking English actors. These are well-known, established actors in the background. Just playing, they look like clay masks, the way they did this. And Terrence Stamp actually really loved playing this character, by the way, Zod. I don't know how, what's her name, felt it. Was it Sarah Douglas? Is that her name? That played also. She, I don't know how she felt. She loved the fans, though. She's very, or she was. Did we lose her? I can't remember.
Think so. I'll check.
Yeah, it seems like we lost her in the 20-teens, early.
Yes.
And
2011, I think.
2011. She was just
Sarah Douglas is still alive.
Still, thank God. Look at that. We're wrong, Martin.
She's 70. She's 72 years old.
But she loved meeting fans. It was like she was so like amazed that people still knew her character, knew who she was when she would start doing the concert.
Yeah,
I love the curl, by the way, right there.
Look
at that curl.
What's crazy is like it's sort of that Star Trek phenomenon where actors are not particularly nerdy. Most of them. They're nerdy of being an actor maybe, but they're not into nerdy stuff. But when they do encounter fans or fandoms or whatever you want to call it, they're sort of surprised. How come I did this B movie from 1981? I played the gorilla or whatever. Yeah, people who are really into being a nerd on movies and like the different actors, they know all about your performances. And to me, I always liked the prison that they used, the mirror prison.
Oh yeah, the Phantom Zone.
Yeah, it's always weird because it's sort of like you're trapped in a cube, but it's not really a cube because it's supposed to be like a flat surface instead of
it's
a
two-dimensional
thick...
to us, but it is another universe, and
Yes.
And they can't get out. They're layered in here, but I wanted to comment on this one. This is another good shot that I really like for miniatures, is that beam of light, because like where's it coming from? And it's actually from underneath them shooting up into the sky, and that they continued this beam as this thing rotated to open the dome. I just thought that was gorgeous. This is a great miniature set, and it matches perfectly with the full scale sets too. Here it comes. It floats down this little window, and it's something that in the film Jor-El. And by the way, this is not the first time we see Jor-El and I just got his wife's name.
I have no idea.
Anyway, Superman's mom, because we actually did get to see a live action version of this with the Superman TV series, because they showed a little bit of it at the beginning in the first episode.
Okay.
The way they did these suits is the same way they did the first lightsaber. They use the same kind of material that's used for movie screens. And
so
the
they
lights
rotoscope them?
No, they shine a light specifically from about the same point as the camera.
Oh, okay.
Just at the suits, and it causes it to reflect right back into the camera. And later, you'll even see this effect done better when Krypton's falling apart. The light that's on him is red, and it looks horrifying. It looks like Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, it looks like a horror film coming to bite you.
Yep. But again, I wanted to point out, I love that they gave Jor-El the same curl as Superman. And he, in the version that I have, that I prefer, is what's referred to as the final cut. Has everything put back in. It's almost 3 hours. And the only thing that doesn't change is the ending with the time thing. They leave that in. But they put the line in here that's delivered later in Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, where you hear the line, the father becomes the son, and the son becomes the father. And that's in the version I watched. And I love that that's still in there. It's one of my favorite lines. Found the channel. Thanks for recommending. Is Tom here in the chat?
Yeah, Tom Baker.
Oh, Tom Baker. Oh, thanks, Tom.
And welcome, Mercedes.
Hey, Mercedes.
Greetings. Welcome to the show that just loves to talk about movies. That's what we do. I love also that the blanket they put him in has the primary colors for the costume. Red, gold, and blue.
I still don't understand why the baby had to be naked and just wrapped in a blanket.
Because this is 1978?
And they just thought they would just put him in there because they wouldn't want to put a diaper on him because he'd be pooping. And I guess the ship cleans up all of his poop and pee.
And
but he's
also
not in there
teaches
for that
math.
long.
Yeah, I mean,
it collects poop. It collects poop, pee, and teaches you math.
Dude, he was in that ship for 3 years.
What?
He was 3 fucking years floating around in space, pooping and peeing. I don't know what he's eating, but it's somehow keeping him alive.
He ate a crystal.
He might have been in some kind of space.
Now in the original, because a lot of people don't know this, Mario Puzo, the man who gave us The Godfather,
and Jaws,
wrote the original script for this film, and he wrote the novelization. If you go find the novelization for this movie, written by Mario Puzo, and that book is completely different than this movie, because there's communication between Krypton and Earth. And one of the people that they're communicating with is Albert Einstein.
Oh.
So Albert Einstein plays a part in how they find the parents. because he crashes specifically at that time, at that moment, because it was pre-planned for Martha Kent and Jonathan Kent to be there when it happens. Now, this is a scene also not in the original theatrical version where you get to see this guard going to go arrest the L's because they're lifting a rocket off. Even though they thought they were trying to leave, they weren't. They kept their word. They weren't going to leave. They were going to die with the rest of them. The only thing they did is they sent their child. They didn't promise not to send the child.
Yeah.
And we just lost her recently too, didn't we?
I don't know what's her name.
On it.
I'll do it. I don't know. I'll do it. I think I had it in my
Susanna York. I
notes.
just remembered anyway. Susanna York, great actress. I mean, this movie is chock full of great actors from the past. Not just Marlon Brando. You got Glenn Ford playing Pa Kent or Jonathan Kent.
She was the
But
one.
yeah,
who
Susanna
died
York, and it
in
seems like
2011.
Oh, then that's who we were thinking of. Okay. I knew we lost one of them.
Pretty sure we lost Glenn Ford.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
Oh,
watching
yeah.
the version that we watched, the credits in the end were heartbreaking.
Oh,
because
we
they were
lost
just
Ned.
He was-
I think we
the
lost
birth
Ned
and death
Beatty
years of
last year.
people.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was a sad day when we lost him. But yeah, Glenn Ford was such a method actor. He actually had a heart attack in the movie. I'm lying.
I know.
Oh wait, I was reading that. Hey, 11 Alpha.
Hey, Alpha.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I felt like he should have, but he gave his word. Did you? Oh, there was a yeah, Superboy. Heck yeah, it was a hit for a while. I love the breakaway set here. The glass, how they pulled off that glass too. How this thing, they had a small hole for the wire to pull it up, and then it breaks through that glass.
No.
And I love in the final cut, you actually get to see things from the perspective of that guard sent to arrest them. It's
Yeah,
a cool scene.
The thing is, there are parallels to what some people want to do with humanity, and it's in when you hear that line, oh, Jor-El is has a misuse of energy. Go arrest him. So what the fuck? It's like
I have the final cut of Superman, which was done. It's a fan edit done by a young lady that does special effects, and it's really fucking good. One mistake made in it was, I'm fine with it. It's no big deal. I love that they show, because that was part of the script, is that he's headed towards Earth and now they are too, slower than him. So it takes years for him to, them to reach Earth, which is why what happened in Superman 2. In the original ending of Superman, there's a mid-credit scene. For real. There's a mid-credit scene from the original Superman cut that Donner was doing, which would show the atomic bomb or rocket that he sent into space explode, and it frees them. And then it shows clips from the film that's already been shot, and Superman will return in Superman 2. And they took that out. I love the melting away of the crystals as it's coming into the Earth's atmosphere. Now, I don't remember that. I'm going to have to look that up, Slasher Fred. I bet that's fucking cool. That was some crazy music from Planet of the Apes.
That was a crazy movie.
Absolutely. And it's a small world in England in particular for actors.
It's a small
Oh, that's
world
sad.
after all. What?
The baby, Kal-El, Lee Quigley, died in 1981 at the age of 14. That's sad.
What? What happened?
Life happened.
14.
Yeah, he died. Ned Beatty died in 21. A lot of actors died between 2004 and 2014, that 10-year period. Yeah, absolutely. And I lived in the UK, and it's part of the reason why I started noticing stuff like that, because I was there as a kid. Oh, seriously? Oh, that's awful. It's a form of huffing.
Oh,
Now, this is another thing that a lot of people
what
don't
was
know.
that? 91? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
So the kid who plays young Clark Kent here, they put a prosthetic nose on him to look more like a mix between Brando and Christopher Reeve. And in the end, they didn't like the dialogue. His voice didn't sound right because they needed something that sounded more like Christopher Reeve, and it just wasn't coming through. So what they ended up doing is redubbing his voice with Christopher Reeve. So in any version of the film you see, you never hear the kid. You're hearing Christopher Reeve delivering all those lines as ADR. Love that.
I never noticed it was ADR, but
yeah, that's ADR. That's Christopher Reeve's voice. And there's a scene here where he gets mad and he kicks his football. And the way they pulled that off is they had an air cannon under his foot. And when he went to kick up, it shot out.
It sounds like they left the cannon blast in it when it kicks it off because that's loud when it goes
Hey, Joe. Thanks, buddy.
Joe.
$1.99.
Thank you.
This is another great scene. They weren't sure how they were going to pull this off. So what they ended up doing is they had a crane holding him up, suspended just above the ground, and he would run and go quickly. And then later they would speed it up a little bit too. And
we owe some videos. One for the memberships and one for the super chat.
Yeah, Martin's in charge of that.
Yeah, but you don't shut up, so I cannot run the videos.
That's the second thing. I don't shut up.
It's not my job to shut up. It's you to let me know you need to play something.
That's why I just said something.
Yeah, but I don't want to.
Do it.
So I'm going to keep going.
Do it now.
So they hold him up. Are we doing it? Okay, then do it.
Yes, I'm doing it. I'm looking for something that.
I just told him and Arnold to do it. He has.
Okay. Okay. This is for Nadia and the membership that she gave.
Patty, bring me everyone.
What do you mean, everyone?
Everyone!
Yes, everyone who received a membership. And one and the other for Joe. Oh, we haven't run this in a long, long time.
You're reading a magazine, you come across a full-page nude photo of a girl.
Is this testing whether I'm a replicant or a lesbian, Mr. Deckard?
what the hell was that?
Blade Runner,
I
thank
don't
you.
know.
I haven't played that in a long time.
Yeah, I forgot about this.
So going back to this, let's see. If you get the 3-hour extended TV cut, now I have the 3-hour cut. It's 2 hours and 53 minutes, and it has Christopher Reeve's voice in it still. So I've never seen the TV cut. I never watched it on TV. But anyway, so this is a great scene that involves two actors from the very first Superman movie or / serials. That's Kirk Alyn And the woman across from him is O'Neill, the actress that played Lois Lane in the first Superman.
I hate high school scenes like that. Kids are just mean for no reason.
Yeah, the running effect was they weren't sure how to pull it off. And in the final cut, what the girl did that did the effects in it, she went and added dust around his feet. And it made it look a little better. But yeah,
the problem was he was hanging from a crane, so his feet didn't touch the ground, and it makes it look weird.
So they should have shot from a different angle to make it work better. But I got to tell you, no matter what, it's still better than The Flash.
Oh.
This is Kirk Allen in the center, and that's him on the left there is Clark Kent, and O'Neill there is Lois Lane. So that's who's playing Lois's parents in this scene. And this is kind of cool scene. At first, it's like, yeah, haha, got you. And you're like, go on, weirdo. He walks over, has a nice conversation with his dad. Dad gives us some more great parental advice that you weren't put here to play football. You were put here for a reason. I don't know what it is, but one day you're going to find out. He says, I'll race you to the house, runs to the house, and Paul Kent has a heart attack. And he delivers that line. It's painful whenever you see it. He grabs his wrist, his left wrist, he's holding it, and he looks at it, he goes, oh no. And that's it, he dies. And it teaches Clark the lesson that even with all your superpowers, you can't save everybody.
Yeah, that's a heartbreaking line too, when he says, with all the stuff I can do, I couldn't save him.
I just found it very interesting that right after a loss like that, he gets the call, the crystal gets activated because of the emotional impact, or
it might be the emotions, but I think it's because it's so close to his birthday. He turned 18, and the minute he turned 18 is when that signal was supposed to go off. So it's like coincidence. I think it's coincidence. But it could be something else. It's the end of his
childhood in a very traumatic way by losing his dad on top of that.
Yeah. And the old saying is, you don't really become a man until you lose your father.
Well, yeah, I guess.
The whole movie is a 3-act play. We have the sci-fi disaster epic on Krypton, the Americana John Ford, which is done like a Adams, I forget there was a whole family of artists, and it was the son of the famous artist that painted the woman. I think it was called Lucy's World, and that's what he was going for this look. He wanted it to look like that painting. This was actually shot in Canada because it's hard to find any place like this in America anymore.
Hey, we've been rated by Tom Connors.
Yeah. Mead Radio.
Oh, look, Tom pops in.
Hello, Raiders.
Send him an invite, Martin.
Oh, he has one. He's in the group.
He's in the chat?
No, he's in the group where I send the invites.
Okay. Sometimes he doesn't pay attention to those, so sometimes you got to send them to him personally. To be fair, I grew up with the $6 Million Man, so I'm more used to slow-mo for running. Yeah, I know. I grew up on that too. Not a fan of slow-mo, to be honest with you.
No, me neither.
I kind of like the way they did it in the new Superman trailer of him running up and saving that girl. It's like it's normal speed, and then all of a sudden it slows down. I don't know why that works for me. I'm not a fan of guns, so it's hard for me to say nice things about him. But I actually like that shot of Superman saving the little girl with all those tanks around her that could have killed her. Like Clark didn't just run Jonathan to the hospital
because it was too late.
Yeah, when you have the Widowmaker, ain't no saving you. And
But
that's
he's
there's-
X-ray vision,
there's a
remember? He could see what's going on inside of his dad, so he could tell that this heart was gone.
if you're in the hospital right when it happens, there's a minute chance they can save you.
Technically, there's the 20% shot of you surviving. And that includes a hospital, by the way.
Because that's how my dad died. My dad was sitting on the side of the bed, pulling his pants up. And by the time his head hit the mattress, he was dead. He had lost the essay and AV notes. They were gone. And if once you lose those, you can't restart them if they die. And that's part of what's scary about certain kinds of the Widowmaker. It's specifically the electrical part of the heart that dies. And
all I'm saying is, you've got a 20% shot, not because I like pull that thing out of my ass. Actually, Kevin Smith had that same problem. I know. And he was rushed to the hospital, and his doctor said, well, technically, even if you were here and it was in a like maybe different area or whatever, there's like a 20% chance of pulling out of it. So
yeah,
he was lucky.
And
he was fucking lucky, by the way.
And this was, I think, still in the 50s at this point, possibly right around 1960 when this part of the story takes place.
Okay, Clark spent 12 years on the 78, so 66.
Yes, 66. So, because I know that, yeah, he spends 12 years because it says it in the narration. You hear Marlon Brando say, these last 12 years, you have learned so much, and so you get that thing where he goes, it's like he's become a doctor of superheroism. He's been given that kind of education of all of his powers. And I think it's fantastic what they did in this film, because there is still also the Christ aspect of the story, which has been shown in 3 versions of the film, on film, the allegorical aspects of the Superman character. And like in one where it shows him he's dying, and I think that Superman Returns, he's actually with his arms out, like he's been crucified. They went that far with that one. But in this one, you get the allegory too, because again, he didn't become Superman until he was 30.
Dude, you have to read it from 11 Alpha.
So did Clark dodge the draft during Vietnam?
Correct.
That's a damn good question, 11 Alpha. What happened there? Well, apparently he was in Canada. Just saying.
Well, close to Canada. It's pretty much frozen the same way.
Yeah, he went from Canada, because this is in Canada, and then it's not Kansas, it's Canada. And then the rest was supposed to take place at the North Pole. Yeah.
So Canada and north of Canada.
I like these comments that are coming on. So he lost 2 fathers by the time he was 18.
Yeah.
He's dark, man. He's got daddy issues. A boy with daddy issues. What the fuck? But he's got a great mom. They aged her up very well.
Yep.
And he has to go on this quest. And it's like, it's so weird the way it's shot in the film. It's like he just knows. And I think it's because these crystals are communicating with him, telling him what he needs to do. Like he just suddenly knows to stop at this one location and throw that crystal as far as he can, which is reminiscent of the Robin Hood story. Does everybody know that one?
Yeah,
guys,
when he dies,
yeah,
he shoots
right
an
before he
arrow out
dies.
the window and tells them to bury them where the arrow lands.
That's right. And it's sort of the same thing here. He just knows to throw it, and that's where my Fortress of Solitude is going to be. There's Tom. And by the way, I'm going to outright tell you that the Fortress of Solitude was stolen from Doc Savage, as well as the Man of Steel, because Doc Savage was the man of bronze. So they stole several things from this.
As far as I can tell, from what I know, this is 65. Because when we get to part
65?
3 and they have their reunion,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it says class of 1965, and they got like the Beatles and shit playing.
There you go. Yeah, because the music that's playing when he's running, and the car goes by, that's 50s music.
Yeah, that was, I think it was Rock Around the Clock, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt anybody.
Also,
No,
hi, Tom.
no, glad to
no,
hear
it's
that.
fine.
It's well, I said, earlier I told Meth, I said my 2 favorite people to hang out with is you and Tom. I love hanging out with the 2 of you. And look at this, my fucking day's made. I get to hang out with Tom and Meth
And talk about Superman. And you know what's crazy? My favorite scene in the whole entire movie is, first of all, really short, and it's really sweet, and it actually encapsulates both Reeves's performance and the entire movie. And the scene is where Clark is deciding to actually tell Lois he's Superman, and he kind of wants to say it, but he doesn't actually say it. So he's there. She goes out to get something, and he does this. He's taking off his glasses, and then he stretches his up. And when he hears her, he decides, nah, I don't want to do it. So he puts them back, and the posture immediately he slumps.
And even the
down.
way he does his voice,
Yeah.
the way he does his voice differently. I love that.
That whole turning into Superman without actually doing the whole, chest thing and this. He's Superman without having to have the suit, even though it is underneath his clothes. But we'll put that aside. He's not in the suit, but he is Superman for that brief moment. And then he's like, no, I need to protect her from knowing all of this. So he just goes back to the shell.
I love how she figures it out in the end.
That was my favorite
newspaper photograph. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment in the movie. I know
I
it's
agree. That is a
kind of
great
silly.
moment.
I know it's kind of silly. It's kind of stupid, and it's very, very short. But that's mine.
Well, that's the thing. This movie doesn't take itself too seriously at times. It allows you to have fun. And so there was a short conversation between R&B and me this week. And it had to do with the scene where he's on the balcony. That if you cannot commit your Superman to have a scene like that, you can't do a good Superman film, because the pink underwear scene is one of the best moments in Superman. And also the one you're talking about where Superman flies off, he goes around, comes into the building as Clark, and suddenly he's in there and he's talking like this, and got the, gee gosh, Willikers, and then like has that moment where he just straightens up, pulls the glasses off, and you can physically see the change in him.
That's exactly what I was saying. You can
gorgeous.
Can briefly see.
Because he's doing Grant or whatever when he's Clark, right?
Yeah, he's doing Clark. Cary Grant, exactly.
Cary Grant, yeah.
He modeled his character after Cary Grant, and I think he did it brilliantly. Even in the second film, Dick Lester did a fair job with the scene in Niagara Falls, and I love the comedy of that scene. I really do. But the other thing that you don't get in most films is you don't get the moment where he says, "If I could touch you with my hands, I would embrace you." And you see Clark Kent reaching for him, and then he fades away. And I don't know. That scene always hits me hard because I lost my dad. Back, right.
Slowly, and I know this is getting weird, Clark, but
I like to touch you.
I mean,
he said that same exact sentence.
Like
he said that same exact sentence in that movie he did with Paris, where he kind of raped that chick.
Oh, that movie! Like I can't even watch it now because of that. Knowing that he did that to her for real. Yes. Wait, was it unsalted or salted?
Salted.
It's assaulted.
It's Paris. It's
assaulted.
you guys.
Marlon
So
Brando.
this is actually out in front
the
of
first Neil Gaiman.
the first Neil Gaiman. They shot this at the New York Daily News. It stands in for the Daily Planet. And you meet Rex Reed in here, which is funny because they asked what movie he saw. And he said The Omen. Yeah, I just saw The Omen, which is the other film by the director, Richard Donner. He's spelling, she's terrible at spelling.
Yeah, she's always asking, how do you spell this? How do you spell that?
Yeah, like.
She's a reporter. Why can't she spell?
How many P's are there in rapist?
Only one. There's only one P.
I want to address this real quick with Shinatsky because I want to know exactly who is suing who here. Because as far as I know, like the more immediate family is in the movie, right? So is this like extended family that really
you got me? This came
what?
Out of the blue from
yeah. This is a strange bit of business here. As far as I know, this was all kind of figured out and checks were cut and whatnot. I mean, and at this point, we're at like the great grandkids, or if not great grandkids, and you're talking like. Where are we at here? Because yes, I agree. Like his family, he deserves something. His immediate, the two creators and their immediate families do. We're getting to the point where we're getting way down the line as far as family members at this point. I'm curious who's actually brought this lawsuit.
I got to read into it a little bit more. That was your father's brother's
former roommate. Yeah,
former roommate. What does that make us?
Absolutely
nothing.
Absolutely, which is what you're about to become.
By the way, when I was a kid, National Lampoon put out a joke that was called "Man of Steel, Woman of Tissue."
I remember. Oh,
you remember that? That was fucked up, dude. Because like he can't ejaculate with a human because it would kill them.
They kind of addressed that in
Superman
Hancock.
Too.
Well, Hancock.
Well, they do it in Superman too. He has to become human.
Well, depending on which version you watch, yeah, no, in the Donner cut, he doesn't go human first, and that was setting up the Superman for next. Superman Returns. Yeah,
we're gonna do that next, and I want to talk about both films. Would you be up for joining us on that? Because I just would love to talk about both versions of the film.
If I got the time, like you get like me for like a half hour right now while I'm waiting for my supper to get done. So like, yeah,
get food. So, and I love that they really kept the main core of Superman, which was always Perry White, Jimmy Olsen, Lois Lane, and your titular superhero, Clark Kent Superman. This scene always cracks me up. Because it seemed to me at a point when they were not in the alley that they could have probably got away.
Here's where he breaks the fourth wall, too, after...
Oh, that's right. He looks at the camera, doesn't he?
Yep, just like he does at the end of the movie.
Yeah, when he gives the big smile.
Another highlight of mine. It's those small little things that Reeves does, or Reeve, not Reeves. Reeve does that are really endearing. And it was really hard. All the other actors that portrayed him had their own shtick. The only ones that they were endearing. Well, the only one was Dean Cain. I loved Henry Cavill as in terms of look.
Let's
how
not
he
get
looks.
started on that shit.
No. I'm not going to go there. Tom, I've seen all the stuff you've gone through this week. Trust me, we're not going to go there. I like Henry Cavill. I like him. I like the look of him. I just don't like what they did with his character. And he didn't have that endearing moment. Plus, his Clark Kent wasn't.
I put that off on the
strong.
director not understanding Superman because he doesn't.
No, I don't put that on
and
Henry
the writers,
himself
because the fucking story was horrible. Yeah, like you guys were talking about the death of, Jonathan just before I got in here, and like I mean that is fundamentally one of the most important parts if you're going to run with that soap story. right? Either you keep him alive or it has to be something. I don't care if it's a heart attack, cancer, whatever it is, something that has to happen to him that Superman cannot prevent. Because that is the lesson that's taught, is that you can't save everybody, no matter how many powers you have, no matter how fast you are, no matter how strong you are. There's just some people in the world you're never going to be able to save because there's just some things you can't stop, like natural death, right? He just needs to understand that. That's a fundamental lesson.
And that's why Spider-Man, that's why Spider-Man works better in the Marvel universe as opposed to what Marvel or Shazam or whatever that character is that they had. That was the equivalent of Superman, and it never had that moment with him, as far as I know. But Spider-Man did have that moment where maybe if I could have done other things, I could have saved Uncle Ben. So Superman and Spider-Man do have that sort of moment in tandem.
But of course, if he hadn't died, we wouldn't have got his delicious rice.
Exactly.
But the actor here, by the way, that's playing
we know why
the cop chasing him, he is also the chief or the captain in Lethal Weapon series. That is Richard Donner's first cousin, which is why he looks so much like Richard Donner. Not that guy, the other cop, the long hair. And I don't remember his name. Do you remember his name? I always forget his name.
I'll pull him up.
Oh, and John Ratzenberger's in this movie too. I brought that up to Animal when we watched it. It's like, and that's John Ratzenberger from Cheers. And he's been in Star Wars, Superman, King Kong. He's all over the fucking place before he was on Cheers.
He's in part 2 as well, but I think he plays a different character in it.
Oh, Ratzenberger? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the guy, he's with them and they're in there. I'm pretty sure, unless I'm remembering it wrong, when Zod and all them show up on the moon. Remember right.
So, and if you didn't know, one of the state senators that's in the movie is played by Phil Brown, who is also Uncle Owen in Star Wars. And there's another guy that's only in the final cut, because I don't think he's in any other version. Bruce Boa plays the General Lane in the film, and it's only in the final cut that you get to see his scene where he calls the president. And he, of course, was the general that Han Solo talks to in Empire Strikes Back when he's got to leave. Same actor. So you had a lot of connections to Star Wars in this movie, including the guy who designed Star Wars, designed this film. And they did work at Elstree Studios, too. In fact, this set here is built at Elstree.
The name of the captain or the cop, Steve Kahn.
Is that his real name? I always forget his fucking name. But
Steve Kahn.
He is first cousin Jewish to the director.
Yeah, when you pull up, like, I went to like Lethal Weapon. When you click his name, it brings up his sort of information. He's got 3 pictures, 2 of them from Lethal Weapon, and the third one is from Superman as the other cop who doesn't die. Stephen Samuel Kahn, American actor. He's also in Demolition Man for a brief moment. He's wearing a cop uniform.
He plays cops. It's just like it's his career.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's 80 years old.
Yep. And like I said, he's cousins with
Richard Donner.
Now, Ned Beatty fucking nails Otis, this character. And this is the one thing that is not comic accurate is Lex Luthor. But the way this is played is so perfect for a movie. And that's why it works. The only thing that needed to be comic accurate in this is Superman and his environment. And he's a klutz. And I love that. I mean, scene when he gets his coat stuck in the woman's bathroom door just cracks me up every time I see that. Like, how he pulled that off without looking like he's trying to do it.
Clark Kent is a klutz, Gary. Superman isn't.
The whole purpose of the mask is to make it believable. And Clark Kent is the mask for Superman. Because, it's the other way around with Superman. But that's what I'm talking about when I say Reeve did it where he's endearing. As Clark Kent and as Superman, he has moments in there where he is relatable, I would say, as both sides. You can relate to a guy who's a bit klutzy, who's a bit, nerdy. You can relate to that guy, especially if you are that guy. But you can also relate to the kindness and the stuff that Superman represents.
I forgot. There's something else I forgot to mention. One of the reporters who is interactive, he's bald and little mustache, is Val Kilmer's agent manager in Top Secret. Same actor, the guy who dies on the T-1000 fist pump action toy, sex toy. Same actor. He's in this.
Yeah, you
And I
pointed
think he's
it
in
out
both
when we
films.
finished it yesterday.
Yeah, I had to go back and show her. I said, "Look, there he is," and she laughed. I was like, "Oh my god, this is a great scene." The way they set this up, shot in 3 different locations, and shot at different times, and it seems so seamless the way they shot this.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say quick about because you guys were talking about the duality, or really actually the triality or whatever of Superman. Because as much as I love the Kill Bill speech, there's one thing that Bill misses in his whole observation there, which I think is brilliantly put together by Tarantino, especially if you're looking at it from a certain point of view, or somebody like Bill would anyway. There is the third side, and that is the real Kal-El, right? Because you have Superman. You have Clark.
Yeah.
Then you have the real Clark. The Clark
and you
that his
also have
parents
Kal-El.
know. Well, I mean, the real person, right? The one his parents know, the one that doesn't hide anything from anybody, the one eventually Lois gets to know, that kind of a thing, right? So so there is more of he has kind of 3 sides to his coin, which does kind of make him unique outside of most. I mean, Batman is similar-ish in a sense that he has Bruce Wayne, Batman, and then Bruce Wayne, the Playboy version of him that he shows in public, right? There's also the version that Alfred knows, which he knows is both of them, which is kind of the same thing, right? That other personality. That's kind of the mix between the two. And that's kind of what Superman has too, is that Kal-El personality, the one that was grown up, in Smallville with his parents. That's basically what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to point out here, this is it. This is the reveal moment.
That's
We
an
saw
awesome
him fly
scene,
past the camera. When
that's
he
a
runs
bad
at the camera,
outfit.
pulls at he runs, before he does this, he runs by a fucking modern 70s phone booth, which isn't the enclosed anymore. It's the one on a pole just sitting there. And he stops and he looks at it. Was just a moment of brilliance to have him do that.
I think it came from Donner. He wanted to nod the fact that he was doing a 50s, even 30s character or a golden age character, but he's now in the quote unquote modern age. Right. And he can't do the stuff that he could do back in the 30s or in the 40s.
Let's run into a phone booth
because the technology has changed. So he goes to that phone booth, doesn't work. So he goes into that revolving door, and to just give you that nod, and Tom said it with the guy who's like, "Man, that's a badass suit, man."
Yeah, you hear the pimp. Oh man, that's badass.
It's fucking brilliant.
Did you guys address the other version? Because Mario Puzo wrote the original story, and then
yes.
Gary said
it. And then I can't remember their names, but they came in and wrote a draft, and then Tom Mankiewicz rewrote it.
You're talking about Mankiewicz.
No, before Mankiewicz, there was the couple that wrote on it who rewrote all the Donner stuff in part 2 and part 3.
I know who you're talking about. Give me a second. The Newmans.
Newmans, yes. So
Leslie and I forget the husband's name.
Yes, but yes. So their version of this story was fucking horrendous, right? Because it was full of jokes, like that scene where you had the pimp there going, "That's a bad outfit." I believe that was actually supposed to be fucking Kojak saying, "Who loves you, baby?" and all that kind of shit. they had so many bad fucking jokes in the movie. There was even this ongoing joke with Lex Luthor eating tissues and all this other shit. Yeah, like he kept eating tissues. Like it was like this thing he did. Like it was literally in the script, like he'd have a line that it said Lex would pop another tissue in his mouth.
That is bizarre.
I hope they were immediately fired. Because Mankiewicz
kind of did, but it was the problem was as Mankiewicz, there was so many writers already, and with the way the guild worked and how he came into work on it, because Donner took one look at it. He's
he actually had to keep it secret at first.
Yeah, because he's like, we can't fucking do this to Superman. He's like, are you crazy? Superman is Americana. It's baseball and apple pie. You fucking got him out here making jokes with fucking Kojak. Yeah,
Mankiewicz didn't want to work on it, and so what Donner did is he dressed up in the Superman costume and waited for Mankiewicz to come to his house. And right when he pulled into the driveway, he jumped out from behind the bush as Superman.
Well, and you know what he told him? He's like, he convinced him, you got to do this with me. We got to save Superman. Otherwise, this is going to be worse than Batman 66.
Yeah, exactly.
Is basically what he told him.
By the way, I paused here for a second because I love the use of front projection that they use, rear and front projection, and giving him his ability to fly. And it just blows my mind how beautiful some of this is, because whenever they had to use the blue screen, they had to change the color of his costume to have a green hint to it. It had a greenish hue. If you ever see it, it almost looks like teal, and then they would color correct it later after the matting process was done. But what worked the best in this film, for even some of the large effects, like that scene of the rocket, that's actually not a miniature. That's a full-scale rocket firing not hot steam, but cool steam out with bright lights to look like flame. And that's why it looks so cool when he's flying up into it. And you remember that scene, Anima, where it looks like he's reaching right into the flame of that rocket.
Yep.
I just love the way that was shot. And it was brilliant the way they did the quick movement of the background along with Superman's movements. And because he was already a pilot at this time, Christopher Reeve was, he had a great concept of aeronautics. And he would do things with his body that no other actor has emulated.
And it completely surprised them when they tried out how to make him fly.
It looked like he was flying.
Go into a curve. They were mind blown that what he could do.
He would shift his body weight and move his arm a certain way or outward. And I just, it's fucking beautiful. Christopher Reeve, man. God damn. Love that guy. This scene's great. Cat burglar suctioning cup his way up this building, runs into a pair of red boots.
Oh, that's one of my favorite scenes when he hands him over to the police officer.
Yeah, O'Malley or whatever the cop's name is.
Yeah. This is one of the only
comedy in this.
This is one of the only bits that really always bothered me. Even as a kid, I noticed that his cape should be like falling down upon his body and his legs and shit. Instead, it's like he's standing the wrong way, because they must have never thought about it when they were shooting it. Of all the stuff they were doing. Look at that
curve. Look how he's curving there. No, I agree with you. There's some stuff that does kind of goofy when you think about it.
Well, and this movie was barely put together by like fucking spit and tape. We got to remember that. Like the original ending was not what we got.
Well, I explained what happened,
and I'm sure you mentioned
because they were shooting both films, some scenes simultaneously, because they knew they wouldn't
basically anything with Marlon Brando, anything in the Daily Planet outside of some stuff they did eventually reshoot. But if it had anything to do with Gene Hackman, it was shot then. That's why in the original theatrical cut, the only time Hackman like is in it is stuff that was shot. All that stuff that was shot by Richard Donner.
Yeah, because he refused to come back.
Yeah,
for any additional shots.
And they had a couple of shots that they did do, but they had somebody else. They were from a long way off. They're like somebody else or body double, and they have somebody doing the voice horribly. And it's obviously, if you haven't figured it out already, it's when he's like, mush, north, Mr. Eskenacher, north. So I sound more like him than the guy does in the movie. That's the problem. It's I'm trying to do a bad version of it. It's like hard to do. So like,
this is a great gag here with the whole bad vibrations. Hits him with the crowbar. Jeffrey Unsworth also photographed the best Titanic movie, A Night to Remember. Yes, great fucking movie.
Didn't he die like shortly after this movie came out?
Yes.
Or just before?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because it's
Another
dedicated
flight
to
scene.
him, isn't it?
Yeah. At the beginning, OBE dedication. I love these shots of Superman flying around. This gag is one of my favorites too. Saves
The
this
save
cat
the cat
from this
moment.
little girl. She goes in to tell her mom, and her mom smacks her for lying.
That's
Stop lying.
You'd never get away with that today.
I was 14 years old, just losing it.
In the later TV cuts, I think they actually cut the slap out, but in the original they didn't. I know that.
I almost thought
can't have
yeah,
fun
'cause when I
anymore.
saw another cut of it, the slap wasn't there. And I'm like, is this a Mandela effect thing? You know?
No, it was a TV versions. They started taking it out sometime in the mid 80s, I think it was. Because like when I first saw it as a kid, I saw like the 3-hour, 2-night version. Same thing with Superman 2. So for years, those were the versions I lived with. But like, I guess because I do remember the same thing. At some point, they started taking it out, and then when I finally picked it up on video years later, it was back in finally. But then I'm
That's
missing all the
cool.
other stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
I got to tell you, Superman Returns is, I wouldn't call it awful.
Well, I can understand it. To a
I
point,
call it
Anima,
atrocious.
because,
So
I mean,
there
you
was
can call it awful. You know, anybody can call it what they want. What I'm
There-
saying for me, I liked it, but I had problems with it. But anytime that theme comes in, my chest tightens, and I become I'm so emotionally bonded to the Superman theme that if you want to make me tear up, play that fucking theme. And when they did that in the movie at the airplane rescue, I got so emotionally caught up in that I ended up just watching the rest of the movie without a problem. But I've dissected the film too. There are all kinds of problems. I hated Kevin Spacey as Lex Luthor. He was closer to the comic book though. But anyway, I paused here because this is a great scene where he's outside the plane and the pilot says,
oh my God.
just fly. I ain't saying what it is.
Yeah.
That's
Trust me.
Yeah. Don't look, just fly. And the guy has this radio voice. He seems like more of a radio host, like a late night radio host than an actual pilot. But okay.
I love the first
And this is
pilot's
the scene
reaction
where-
when he sees Superman instead of the engine and tells his co-pilot, "We got something. Don't look, just fly."
Yeah. Well, also when Superman like salutes at him, he goes
Yeah.
like that, and then he looks at his hand and he pulls his hand down. Like, what am I- This is the scene I'm talking about where he reaches for his father. If I could hold you a minute.
So you're watching the extended cut here, I think, aren't you?
This is the extended cut.
Because
Yeah,
this
he
isn't
did.
in the
Actually,
theatrical cut. Yeah.
It's better, but even better than that, Tom. And if you don't have a copy, I have a copy. I'll give it to you. It
Dude,
is,
I have like 6 copies of this fucking
it's
movie,
the final
man.
cut. It's 2 hours and 50 some minutes.
Yeah,
And-
I've got the TV version, I've got the Donner cut, I've got the 4K theatrical cut, I've got them all. So yeah, no worries there.
But this is a great moment because he's talking to his dad, you know, and his dad's telling him, "Hey, look, you know, vanity, it plays a part in everybody. You know, we all have that feeling of, you know, spiking the ball kind of thing. You want to spike it, it makes you feel good that you did something. It's okay to feel good about these things. It's human, you know."
But
And that's where he says it. If I could,
don't stand around jerking off all day and patting yourself on the back.
well, he
You
is
really are
AI
just,
monkey Jeebus.
You're really just, you know, like
look who's
you're
here.
not much more than a firefighter and a cop, really. I mean, let's just say
Hecker.
that.
By the way, I've been meaning to come back to this.
Where were
we
you
got a
on
new,
9/11?
Oh my God, Tom.
Well, I was
So
just gonna say
fucking
earlier
evil.
with Anima, like there was this thing I do understand why they cut the slap out, is because in like the 80s it became
Kind of
like
abuse.
child abuse became a big fucking talking point in
Yeah,
America.
but this is not the 80s. This is before, and that's what people did.
No. I get you, but I understand why at the time they did. I don't agree with it, but that's why is because there
No,
was a
understanding doesn't mean you
oversensitivity.
agree. Yeah. And I know exactly what Tom's saying because I get it.
With never
I don't
slapping
agree.
kids, but in this scene, it's just fucking funny.
Well, and we've gone so far from it now. Like as a parent, it's almost like you're scared shitless to discipline.
And you
your kid
don't know
now.
if she slapped her or spanked her. That's the thing. It's just a slap sound. So, but by the way, at the hour and 20-second mark in the movie, I think it's just the special edition. That is Richard Donner. That's a reporter that asks Clark Kent a question. It's his cameo in the film.
Here's the intro to Lex. Here is it, or is it the other part we saw before? Or no? What part
Okay.
is this?
Guys, Sauron has to leave. So
Yeah, I wanted to read this. Sauron, I really appreciate your comments here. So it's great. Let me go up to this one first. Lobot from Empire Strikes Back. He is also one of the elders in this, and that is true. And just going to post this here. The box Lex Luthor gets the kryptonite out of for the necklace that he puts around Superman. It's the same box that Obi-Wan brings the lightsaber out of in Star Wars 77.
Oh, I didn't notice
nice.
that. I did not notice
neat.
that.
Really appreciate you, Sauron. Glad you joined us. Hope you sub, and I hope you come back because it's great comments. Yes.
What nobody knows is that they're both made by Halliburton.
Oh,
are you serious?
No.
Oh, I think you're saying invested. Oh,
Jarrell.
fuck off, dickhead.
Be reasonable.
And bye, Monkey. Have a nice day. Good to see you, man.
Oh, see you, Monkey. Good seeing you, man. $600 by Sunday. That's a lot of jerk offs.
Oh,
Oh, take it easy, buddy. Oh my God. My joke choked you up. Are you okay?
No, my joke choked me up.
Oh, okay.
Seriously, Gary, Halliburton?
Well, I thought you were saying
never
they were an
mind.
investor or something.
No. Said they made both cases.
Okay. This is actually what's great about this is the scene that he auditioned with all the other different actresses with, and she nailed it. But when you see the footage of it, my God, he was so scrawny and he sweat like crazy. The dark sweat stains under his arms and shit. It was, oh my God. I'm like, I hope they figure out how to deal with that in the future. But this scene, and I agree, because, I know we don't always agree with R&B, but I find I agree probably more with them than I disagree with them. But this scene is what makes this film so great. It's not the best scene in the film, but this scene makes this film so great because you get to see the interactions between two characters. This is an intimate moment between the two main characters of this film, Lois Lane and
It's what differentiates this Superman from all the others prior to it, too.
Absolutely. And if you can't have a scene like this, doesn't need to replicate it, but if you can't bring this kind of intimacy and friendliness and the cheekiness of it too.
Well, that's how Donner compromised in, okay, you can't change Superman, but what you can do is change the world around him.
Yep.
And at that time you had, in the 70s, I mean, sex
and he
was,
also said,
a big thing.
He said the big thing was you have to, if you can't understand this, you can't do Superman. He has to be a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
That's who he is.
It's truth, justice, and the American way. And the American way is not hoo-ha, rah, 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 America. Is basically the stuff that you get from the Constitution.
Yep.
It's basically those basic principles that you get from the Constitution is the American way, is the free world, our way is probably the best, if not flawed, but the best way of handling this chaos called humanity.
It's flawed as hell, but yeah, it is. It's the most functional legal system in the world.
So truth, justice, in the American way. Basically, the American way supposed to represent both truth and justice, but truth is not necessarily justice, and justice is not necessarily truth. That's why they're both represented. And people miss that about Superman. And like I said, the only show or the only version of Superman that came close to Reeve was actually Dean Cain.
Dean Cain, right.
In terms of getting the Superman role or the Superman theme of truth, justice in the American way. But because it was a TV show, it was a different format, it was a different thing, and it was a standalone because it didn't have the Papa Kent dying in it. He was alive throughout the show. They didn't have the same moment as they did in
mother
this
made his
movie.
suit, and his mother made his costume, because they show the scene where she's trying different ones. Now, there's two different versions of this scene. The full length version has the poem in it. I don't know. Did this cut have it, Martin?
I don't know.
I think both versions have it, as far as I know. Can you read my mind? Is in both of them. I'm pretty sure it is.
Because I like it in there.
I'm pretty sure it's in the theatrical cut too.
Yes. Yes.
I don't remember.
Yes, she does. In the theatrical, yes.
Can you read my mind? Is in because they released it as a single. Yeah, because they released it as a single, Geary, at the time. It was like on the pop charts and shit. Yeah.
I'm not saying you're full of shit, because I'm going to trust you, but I got to check. What's it called? Trust but verify.
He's not saying we're full of shit.
I just don't know. You're not. I don't believe for a second. I don't believe you would give me bad information, but
because they did the pop version. Because I got that 3-disc soundtrack. It has the original.
Well,
version,
yeah, it was on the soundtrack because I got it too.
That's what I'm saying. So it was all part of the movie then. So like it had to be in the movie. That's my point.
Yeah, I thought he cut it out of the theatrical version.
No,
I don't remember it in the movie.
In
I told you I've never seen the extended cut. I've only seen basically the theatrical version, and I know that moment where she's
popcorn.
This is it right here. Can you read my mind?
Yeah,
that's why I brought it up. This is that scene. Can you read my mind is in the theatrical cut. I know the song is. I just don't know if.
And then I can't remember the singer. There was actually a singer who ended up doing a version of it too, and I'm trying to remember now. But
I don't know if I'd like that. Hey, Price of Reason's here too.
Hey, Price.
Nice avatar.
Yeah, and 11 Alpha, I think you'll like it the way I taught my kids. I said, if you want to think it in the simplest terms, the Declaration of Independence was our breakup letter with England, and the Constitution was the official divorce.
Yeah.
Yes, the Dear John is the Declaration of Independence, and then the Constitution was our divorce papers. And then it got ugly.
Is it safe now to say that I don't like Margot Kidder as Lois Lane?
Yeah,
I'm with you. She has moments where I don't like her, but I do like her most of the time.
Well, you're correct, but the moments are from moment 0.00 till the end of the movie.
Yeah,
credits roll. For me,
I don't know.
I
too many
never
other people
liked
who
her.
Really could have pulled it off at that time, though. That's the issue I have because I've seen all the auditions.
Even Karen Allen.
Yeah.
Karen Allen was one of them that tried out. There were quite a few. I just think that they picked the right one. I think Margot Kidder was the only one that could play someone like that because she can be sweet and then she can be sassy and in your face. And it
I
works.
guess Channing, what's her name from Stockard Channing was one of the other closest ones. She might have been able to do it.
Oh, she could have probably pulled it off. I agree.
She's almost a bit
She's
too
so pretty,
mean.
but she can be kind of a bitch real quick.
That's what I mean. Yeah, she can be almost too mean, almost like, yeah. So that's the problem. And then the other one, I'm trying to remember her name, but she was almost a little too flighty. Because there was like the other 2 or 3 girls that were down to before Margot walked in. And Donner said the moment she walked in the door and tripped in the doorway, he knew that was who he wanted.
Interesting way to win the casting.
Yeah, because she come in and he goes, this bow-legged, dark-haired girl bops in the door. She damn near falls because she tripped in the doorway wearing cowboy boots. And she goes, hi, I'm I'm Lois Lane. She's probably high as fuck.
Price.
But hey.
Price of Reason says that Margot Kidder has the right attitude.
That's just it. Yes, she has the attitude of somebody who doesn't need a man. but it doesn't come off in that girl bossy kind of way. It comes off in this just independent, strong-willed, but she doesn't seem unapproachable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I still don't like her. It doesn't matter what you say.
No,
I get what you're saying, but like
I'm
I'm still stretching like at that time to try and figure out another actress. I think Donner made the right choice. I don't know if there really was another choice at that point because nobody else, I think, really had the chops.
And when I lived in San Fernando for a very short period of time, she lived down the street. And I didn't know who the hell she was. My dad knew who she was, instead of my mom.
And I mean, her chemistry with Christopher Reeve when he's
they
Clark.
hated her. Yeah, they have great chemistry. Yeah.
They have not so much. I mean, the Superman is fine, but that's also one thing she understands is she at least knows her role, right? I mean, granted, she may not be the best looking. Maybe she rubs you the wrong way. I get it. I totally understand that. There's actors that do that to me, but I mean, she understood it. Fundamentally, she understood walking in. When I'm with Superman, he's, you know, I'm that teenage girl and he's Elvis, right? When I'm with Clark, he's my kid brother. So she got that
I love
dynamic.
when they flip this car. That is a stunt normally done with a telephone pole that's up inside the vehicle, and then it's shot through a cannon out of the bottom of the car and flips it. They'll do it that way, or they'll have a ramp. But this one they used an explosive to flip the car.
Well, I think you can see the arm as it flips over to it. Had a, what do you call it, that rig that pops it up. And
here's Larry Hagman.
What's his face? Larry Hagman.
Yep,
yeah.
Larry Hagman. And he tells him,
man,
no, I won't have anybody else do something that I won't do. And then he makes them all about face to look away. While he's
he didn't have a long enough arm, Mr. Luthor. You want to see a long arm?
You want to see a real long arm?
Hey, Mr. Luthor. I love the way he says it. And he did. Ned Beatty said he had a.
I'm gonna make you squeal like a pig.
He hated that. Oh my God. He said because he was on David Letterman one time back in the 90s. And, you know, he says, you ever have like run into where people remember? He goes, oh, the worst one is when people do the squeal like a pig thing to me. I hate that. He says, it's just one of the worst scenes ever. And that's what you think of when you think of me. And it really bothered him. It bummed him out that people do that to him. Now we lost him at 21.
I'm so glad when I see Ned Beatty, I never think about that movie at all. No. I don't even think about Superman. He's done so many other things that I've watched throughout the years as like
what I remember
as a goofy character actor that I never think about the other stuff.
You know who I remember? What I remember him for? It's an odd one. It's a little movie called The Deadly Tower about the Texas tower shooting on the campus of the University of Texas. And
don't think I've seen that movie.
He plays one of the people that, you watched it with me. Yeah. Kurt Russell plays the sniper, John, I forget his name. Anyway, former Marine. And Kurt Russell did a powerful job. It's what got him released from Disney, because he made a Disney movie. I was going to say, was it a Disney movie? He did a Disney movie earlier in the year, and then he did that one. And when that movie came out, Disney said, we aren't going to work with him again because he went too dark. He went way too dark playing a killer. And but Ned Beatty's in that, and he's really good in it. And it's one of the most outstanding roles I think he ever played. And it was fucking TV, dude. It's a TV movie. It's a great film. If you've never seen it, look it up, find a copy of it. You can buy it on SD from the archives through Amazon, called The Deadly Tower. Now,
I'll check it out.
It's 75, I think, 75, 76, like that. Now, here's another one. This guy was a huge actor as a kid.
Who?
Jackie Cooper.
Oh.
You guys know outside of this movie?
Don't think think I've seen him in anything else.
He was in the original movie, The Champ, with Wallace Beery. And they remade it later with Ricky Schroeder or Rick Schroeder.
Sorry.
And let me see if I can pull something up here. Here we go.
I mean, I've seen The Champ with Ricky Schroeder.
Oh, this is another great effect. Yeah, it was a remake, him and John Voight. But the original film came out in the 30s with good old Wallace Beery. Here he is. This is Wallace Beery on the left there with young Jackie Cooper. He was a child actor. He was in the it was called Our Gang, but it
wasn't he on Family Affair or something like that too? Wasn't that his big thing?
I don't remember.
Or am I thinking of somebody else?
He was in Our Gang, which was part of the Little Rascals. That's him, little boy, 5 years old. This scene wasn't in the theatrical one. Going through the tunnel, having the gun shoot him. I was so glad they put that back in.
It was trimmed down to just the one bit. Yeah.
Otisburg.
Otisburg. Miss Tessmacher's got her own place.
You gave something to Miss Tessmacher.
I noticed that I think hers is like 2 mountains.
Yeah.
Yep, 2 mountains.
It's super subtle, but yeah. But if you look at it.
Miss Tessmacher's got her own place.
And I love the way they showed the projection TV screen.
Look, I know it's not the Lex from the comic books, but Gene Hackman is so fucking good.
Yeah,
he's a different kind of Lex. Yeah,
he owns that role.
He's kind of somewhere between the genius mad scientist and the philanthropist version. So it was kind of like the bridge between the two. Like I could have seen if they had kept him on him trying to be president and shit like that. Yeah. I could be president of the United States of America.
He did, like Lex from the comics. It's about power and control. He wants that. He did, but this version is just absolutely a straightforward criminal. He is ready to do any kind of heist he can to get as much as possible. And in this one, he's going to destroy part of California in order to make a new
bye West Coast. Hello, new West Coast.
Hello, new West Coast. I love that. There it is. You got the overlay. This is great. The glass overlay.
I know some people that today don't really mind to shoot 2 nukes down San Andreas and let them fall down the sea. But the strange thing about it is if you do 2 nukes and you do activate like San Andreas, it won't actually fall into the sea because if you look at the tectonic plates from the side, the California side is above the other side. So it won't fall into the sea. It will actually go above the other one, but never mind. That's a bit too technical at 1 a.m.
It occurs to me that a megaton nuclear bomb in the proper place, I think that's how he says it, something like that.
Yeah.
Set off a reaction that would destroy the entire West Coast. Bye, West Coast. Hello, new
Jackie Cooper is another one of those actors, by the way, that died in 2011. Because that brought up, several of the actors died in 2011. So odd.
Gary, you're such a bummer. Tom was doing a great impression. You're just
I was 6 years old when my father said to me, "Get out." Before that, he said, "Son, stocks may rise and fall. Utilities and transportation systems may collapse. People are no damn good. They will always need land.
Land.
Pay through the nose to get it." Remember, my father said, "Land, Miss Tessmacher, land."
There, by the way, that's Cliff Clavin. I just forgot his name.
Got an affinity for beachfront property. So what do you want? Australia.
Fuck yeah, Australia. I wouldn't live there though. But anyway, that's Cliff Clavin in the movie.
Look on the radar. It looks like a dick.
I know from Austin Powers.
Stop, heel, kneel, back. It's getting old. I love him in part 2. Why do you say these things to me? You know I will kill you for it.
Yeah.
Kill me? The man who set you straight?
Oh, this is it. He's sitting on the
Superman's
box.
address.
Superman picks him up, and Lex looks over in a different direction, and we get to see him use his X-ray vision. And then he sits right back down on the box.
No, don't. I love how he said, like,
Yeah. No, don't, please.
Yeah, he
Don't
warns
open
him
this.
playfully. Oh no, you don't want to do that. And yeah,
from the home
Rex
planet.
is in A Bridge Too Far. He's again playing a soldier. He had a career playing soldiers. Everything I remember seeing him in outside of Cheers, he was a soldier.
You can tell Gene is just having a great time doing this shit.
Yeah.
I
Like
mean,
I said,
at first he was really not sure because he's like, I don't know if I want to do a cartoon. But like, yeah.
He, like I said, he kind of owned the role, and he made it I don't know, like a Gene Hackman turned to like 12.
It is
all
it
the
really
way
is.
up
It's
to
just
12.
Yeah, it's his bad guy version of his character. It's him, but it's the playful version of that. Yeah.
If you remember The Firm with
Yes, exactly what I
Tom
was
Cruise,
thinking. Yes,
it's the same character, but in The Firm, it's kind of dumbed down, being like relaxed, and here is just over the top. But it's the same guy.
Yep. That's what I mean, exactly, because he has those two modes, right? He has Gene Hackman good, and he has Gene Hackman bad. But here, it's kind of like he adds that little extra twinkle to it, or whatever however you want to put it. And you're 100% right, because that's just what. Actually, it was funny because that was the exact role I was thinking of as an example.
See?
Where he's like, just an ultimate cocksucker, and you're like, that's just Lex Luthor, basically. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like it when he plays funny too, and where he's being philosophical. Because like I brought this up the other day, he was in a movie called Heist, and he goes to the newsstand with Delroy Lindo, who's his partner in the film, and he pays the guy at the newsstand, and he says, "Well, money makes the world go round." And Delroy Lindo goes, "That's funny. I thought it was that love made the world go round." And Gene delivers this line so perfectly as he walks away. He says, "Yes, the love of money."
He's not wrong.
And I love that scene.
Some can read War and Peace and come away thinking it's a simple adventure story. Others can read the ingredients of a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe.
Yep, that's a great line. She didn't get it.
Can lead them to water.
Yep. Now, see, in the original script, he is dealing with things in a certain order because he's traveling. And he's able to stop the one missile, but the other one goes off, and he has to go and he breathes in the explosion so the radiation and everything doesn't hurt people. But the impact of the explosion causes the San Andreas fault to begin to collapse. So he goes through the process trying to raise that, and then he rescues Lois from the car. She doesn't die. And then he gets Jimmy and rescues him. And then he goes and gets Lex Luthor, and it's that ending. And Warner Brother and the Salkins were like, this is just, it doesn't have
they didn't have it all shot. That was the other problem. They didn't have all the effects done, and they had the effects done for part 2. So they came up with an alternate version that worked with the effect from part 2. And they're like, well, we'll worry about the end of part 2.
There was a lot of disagreement because this is where...
and I always hate this. This is the one thing I always had a point of contention with, because it is a bit of a Pandora's box of sorts. It's like, okay, whether you look at it as he's spinning the earth backwards, which I think is dumb. You just look at it as he's going back in time is what he's doing. And at one point then basically, while the other Superman's still doing the other things, he's over there saving Lois and doing all that shit. So that's kind of how you got to basically look at it. And it's just kind of stupid because it's like, well, why doesn't he use that power any other time then? You know, it's like actually
that's
that
it.
power
It's
goes
like
against
the
everything
Holdo
that he
move.
stands for. Yeah.
From Disney Star Wars. It's like, well, you just did something that now says that you can do this all the time.
Well, no, hold on. I think that's the thing that happens when a mom sees her child in danger and she develops superpowers for this one instant. He just lost Lois, and maybe that's giving him the extra kick to do that. But actually, what Tom just said, that the number one version of him is still doing all the shit that he's doing, and he is able to free Lois. That makes sense to me now, because my issue was if he goes back in time, he undoes all what he's doing, and then all he does is rescue 2 people instead of all the other shit. But having 2 Supermans there because he went back in time makes sense. I didn't think of that. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah, to me, none of it makes sense. I just let it ride.
Yeah, it has a bunch of logic issues.
Yeah, I know.
Because he goes straight back to her, and then Jimmy Olsen shows up, and it's like, wait, if he went back in time, he didn't save you, and what about the dam and all the explosions and all those people drowning? It's like there's so many problems with
that short little snippet with the train. I think they kind of lifted off of the old animation. Plus, they tied it in with more powerful than locomotive, and they didn't have any scene with a train because you need to show how more powerful he is from a locomotive.
Faster than a locomotive in the
faster.
beginning.
Well, no, more powerful than a locomotive, not faster.
Yes, faster, because he
I'm talking about in the movie. They show him racing the train.
Oh, okay.
And that's right. Because they showed trains in the movie twice.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive train.
Able
to leap buildings in a single bound.
Yeah, because that's the original thing. He didn't fly; he jumped.
He didn't fly; he jumped. I know.
Really?
I remember the old animations. That's the first encounter I had with Superman. Was that on TV?
Yeah, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound is the line. Because he didn't fly, he jumped.
Anyway, I forgot about the train at the start, but never mind.
I like the miniature
took me
effects in this, by the way. I like miniature effects. It's just a lot of fun watching destroying the Hoover Dam or whatever dam this is supposed to be. I don't know what it is. Do you guys know what dam this is?
I think it's supposed to be the Hoover Dam, but the Hoover Dam is not anywhere close to fucking California.
I don't know where it's supposed to be.
We didn't talk about the initial scene where you see the train with the kid Lois Lane and her parents. That was a cute moment.
I did. I talked about it. I showed this. That was Kirk Allen and the original I forget her first name, but O'Neill is her last name. She was the first Lois. He was the first Superman.
The Lois that was on the train that also came back again for the show. Yeah,
both of them. So you had Kirk Allen and her playing Lois's parents. I thought that was fucking cool.
And she gets accused of lying too, just like the girl with the cat.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be interesting.
Oh, Lois, you've got such an imagination.
Wouldn't be a writer, and she's like, no one ever believes me.
Wouldn't it be interesting if her name is April O'Neil? I know it's not.
It's Noel Neal. It's Noel Neal.
Noel Neal. See?
Thank you, Michael.
Yeah. I'm not 100% sure that she wasn't part of the inspiration for April, though, considering especially the hair.
They're both reporters.
Exactly, yeah.
Is she a redhead, too?
Technically, I mean, later on she was. I mean,
she was, yeah.
There's a lot of argument over what she was in the comic book, but yeah.
Yeah.
Because the woman that Kevin Eastman actually modeled her after had dark brown or black hair, but it was curly and permed at the time. So there's a lot of people who assume she was black. It's like, no, guess what? Everybody had a fucking perm in the 80s.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, people forget. It's like people forget there was a satanic panic for some reason.
Oh
my God. I love this. And then like recently with like Snyder stuff, like I use the colloquialism, I was there. Right. So they're turning it into I was there in the room. It's like, no, you dumb fucks. It means I was alive when this happened, meaning you cannot gaslight me and tell me it didn't happen because I was there.
Right. I love this shot of Christopher Reeve when he like hears something happening. Yeah, and I think this is where he knows Lois is in trouble. It's just really great shot. Chris Reeve was a perfect Superman.
Oh, he knew he was very self-aware of how his body looked, especially as a dancer, as a physical because he did he did other stuff too, bicycling.
He was also
running.
a pilot.
I think he was also a gymnast and other things too. Like, so I mean, he had and I remember a great story. Like Donner says, like that shot when we first see him in full regalia, and he flies towards the camera in the Fortress of Solitude. He was just supposed to fly over the camera, but what happened was Chris banked his body a certain way, and it made him swoop around the camera the way it does, and that's all Chris. He's like, that was all Chris doing that. And Chris is like,
I'm getting goosebumps, dude.
Yeah, because he's like, well, Chris says like he got used to the harness, and as soon as he understood the harness, he knew from his, because he had like a background from school in not geometry but physics, and so he kind of like understood certain things. So he's like, well, if I move my body this way, I'll move this way, that way. And that's where I've said nobody else in the history of ever has been able to do wire work the way Christopher Reeve has, and has never been able to make it look as natural as he does. Like, he is able to make it look like he's just floating in air. And I don't know how he does it. And nobody's been able to really pull it off since. Yeah.
Like even here, the way he's moving his hands. And he's listening to his two fathers. You're here for a reason. The other father, you cannot, manipulate human
history.
And he's
I was just waiting for James Earl Jones to show up at some point. This is CNN.
This is Simba. Oops, sorry, wrong movie.
Darth Vader, I am your father.
I do like the effect, but if he did that, it would rip the earth apart.
There's just so much. Yeah, this ending, I just have so many issues. This is the only thing that's like a blotch to me on this movie. Because otherwise, it's a perfect fucking film. And I don't know if you'll ever be able to capture this again. What they managed
sense
to.
Of wonder.
Well, not just that, the perfect Superman and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
As a kid, there was a magazine, the first magazine that put out this photo. Let's see if I can upload this. This was on my wall all the way from age 14 into my teens, as a young adult. I fucking love that photo.
Oh, that's a great photo, yeah.
I love this one more than the one where he's pointing up in the sky. This is more personal.
That's strange. I had the picture of naked Madonna on my wall.
Yeah, I tried that shit. I had Farrah Fawcett sitting in a wine or a champagne glass, a giant one. My dad ripped it off the wall. I won't have this pornography in the house. So to get back at him, I went and got a picture of Schneider as Duke. Is it Bo Duke in the Dukes of Hazzard? I got one where he's got his pants just a little down, so you see a little bit of his right where the pelvic's going to show, right down towards his penis. I put that on my wall just to fuck with my dad, and my dad was fine with that.
It's a bit so I mocked him
about it. Yeah, I mocked him. I said, so you don't like me being a heterosexual, but you don't mind me having stuff like this of a guy that looks like he's about to pull his penis out? This is it right here. When he does this thing where he kind of looks at the cameras for a split second right there, and then looks away and smiles. And I'm like, that's a great, look at that fucking smile, dude.
And they did it again with Brandon Routh. And I thought, you know what? For a crappy movie like that, to end it the same way that Christopher Reeve did was special.
I am so I have such a love-hate relationship with Superman Returns. It is such a complicated thing.
Well, they did the wrong story. They did the wrong story.
First of all, yeah, like this whole making him a deadbeat dad that left, and I get it, he didn't know, so it's not like he's technically a deadbeat dad, but it's still the point. And then just everything that it leads into, and it's like, this is what you're doing to set up a new trilogy or a new series of films, because you got the perfect guy, the wrong Lois, the perfect Lex.
Oh, that was awful Lois.
Yeah.
Awful Lois.
And it's like, do we really need Super Kid? like, not really. I mean, I get it.
Michael Decker, you still have that poster? What I was talking about? I love that thing.
And there was some good and bad bits about it, but then the ending just really fucking fell off. Because, like, I'll tell you, though, like, I was cheering in the theater when that scene with, when he stops the plane from crashing into the...
Oh, my God, yeah. And they play the theme.
It's and everything, and he's like, and he does the line and everything,
Hope this doesn't frighten
statistically speaking, it's the safest way to fly and all that stuff. Like, I was cool that they dropped it perfectly. He looked the part, felt the part. Yeah, I didn't care for the suit as much. I don't know what the hell, other than Bryan Singer was just like, why are you making the S so small and showing off his hips and shit? It's like, okay, whatever.
And then the micro S's. Did you know
why
that?
Why'd you make it dark red?
Costume,
yeah.
The entire suit.
Yeah, the little changes I didn't understand. Yeah.
Little tiny micro S's all over it. It was weird looking.
It was almost too over. And this is the same thing I say about some things. It's like, it's too over designed, right? Kind of like the new suit. Like, that's my problem with the new suit on suit. It's like, it's too over designed. It's like, Gunn, you should have went less, because that was part of, like, I don't hate Cavill's suit, but the things I do dislike about it are the things that they carried over into this, right? Like the newer DC look.
The logo just gets worse every time they redo the suit.
No. They're using the logo is the one from Kingdom Come.
I'm not as hard up on the logo. Like, I don't mind the Kingdom Come logo as much, but like, yeah, like, because otherwise my favorite one is the Christopher Reeve one. So
Brandon Routh wore that too in the stupid series.
Because he was playing the older version of that Superman or whatever. Yeah,
and
I haven't seen it yet. But...
well, I'm going to tell you, because Tom and I've talked about this before, that I don't like James Gunn. I really don't. I've been following him for a long time, long before anybody knew who the hell he was. I was following him online back right after he wrote the Scooby-Doo movie. And he did his worm movie, whatever that, I forget the name of it. It was pretty good. I liked it. That horror film with the worms from outer space.
Slither.
Slither. That was it. I liked that fucking movie. Anyway, I started following him back in the 2004, I think it was. I started following him. He had a blog. And he said some fucked up shit, man. Like, he told a story because he and his brother went to, because he was here in Missouri, he's from here, and he went to Six Flags right outside St. Louis, and they're getting ready to go on the flume, the log ride thing, and his brother, the actor that you see in his movies, is hemming and hawing, and doesn't want to get on this ride. I'm not sure I want to do this, and this 12-year-old girl behind him says, "Quit being a pussy. Either get on the ride or leave. We're all waiting." And James Gunn wrote in this blog, he says, "That girl was so awesome that I could hardly wait till she was 18 so I could try to fuck her."
Well, at least he said wait till she's 18.
I know.
As opposed to Bryan Singer.
I read that, and I'm like, that is so fucked up on so many levels. I laughed at it. Mac, my best friend, laughed at it. But we're like, I'm a dad of a little girl. And there was just this little thing that fucking irritated me with that. And this is way before Twitter. And I think it's even before MySpace. In fact, I think it was right around when MySpace started, when I was reading his blog. So, he's always been edgy with his humor. He was trying to find his footing. And so I forgave him over a lot of that.
Trauma and stuff too, that's why.
Yeah, exactly. But his humor has always been a little bit edgy. Yeah. He's always riding that ragged edge of disaster. And I kind of liked it and I kind of didn't like it. But so my problem with this, I've always felt that he fell into the Taika Waititi group of irreverence. And people don't know what that word means. They'll say, oh, he's so irreverent, and I'm like, do you know what the fucking word means? It means lacking reverence, that you don't hold anything dear. And think about that. Do you want someone that's irreverent in charge of a superhero movie? We learned with Thor, Love and Thunder, when you leave Taika Waititi to his own devices, what he'll do? Because he's irreverent. He doesn't respect the material. Now, Gunn, I'm giving him a little bit because I was one of the people that didn't like the trailer, but I was impressed with what I saw still. The first teaser, as they call it. It's over a minute. How can it be a teaser? The teaser is typically 20 to 30 seconds, right, Tom?
Not really. Minute and a half is fine. Over 2 minutes is where it starts.
I've always thought they were short,
yeah.
like TV teasers. Like they're short.
No, typically under 2 minutes, around 2 minutes under.
Okay.
Because the regular trailers were about 2.5, 3 minutes. So
I thought it was long, and it showed us a lot. But I liked what he did with Crypto. I thought that was cute, but didn't understand, having to show Superman hurt. I think that it's showing people's reaction in small bits of Superman is how you advertise Superman. I mean, that's what they did with promoting this film. It's like you get this, just hints of it, because you don't want to show the shark. Because once you show the whole shark, you kind of lose everything. You know what I'm talking about with Jaws? By hiding the shark, it was a magical moment that happened because that's all they had, because the shark was broken. And there's a lesson to be learned from that. And Superman, they did it with Superman when they promoted the film. They showed certain images, and they didn't want to show you too much. This image that's our background right now was also used all over the place to promote this film. And it just looks amazing. And I felt like they showed the wrong things in the teaser. And I kind of liked the trailer. People don't like it. I don't know how you feel, Tom. I liked Guy Gardner look on Nathan Fillion.
I mean,
I like
at this point,
that's the comic to me. I just went, yeah, that's the comic. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It doesn't matter. This movie is probably going to have the biggest uphill battle for any movie in the history of movies.
It's already in an uphill battle just to remain relevant.
I wasn't a big fan of the first trailer, but it could have been worse.
Me either, but I like
feel like
the
no
second
matter
one a little
what.
better.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody's nitpicking the hell out of that one shot, and it's like, really? I don't think we've ever put a
where
movie
he's
or
zooming
a trailer.
through?
Yeah, a trailer.
That's him having fun.
Movie under such a microscope in our entire life. But yeah,
like one guy. Did you see the one guy did it? He went completely out of his way, and I'm like, did you ever think that he's just having fun flying? Like if you see like a valley, a crevasse, as I jokingly like to call it. Oh, don't get into the crevasse. That sounds nasty. He decided to go through there because it was fun. I think they should have put a smile on his fucking face, showing he's having fun. One of our friends, and I like her a lot, she said, I had no idea that Superman had Down syndrome. His left eye is kind of wonky.
Very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. And just it's getting picked apart. And I have this rule, and I think you said the same thing, and Six said the same thing too. She and I were in complete agreement. I'm just gonna fucking wait. I'm hoping it doesn't suck.
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm not waiting for the downfall of James Gunn. I want to see what he gives us. I hope it's good. And like I said, if this new guy can have a bit of charm to him and have some sort of an endearing quality, especially on the Clark Kent side, because holy hell, they picked the wrong hairdo to have him with. I guess maybe it's a modern audience thing that I don't get, which, all the fucking, the test audience, blah, 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 all that stuff. I hope it's good. I'm going to go to the theater. I'm going to pay good top dollar to go actually watch it and not be an idiot. And we'll see.
Yep, there you go. By the way, Tim is in the audience.
By what name are you known? There are some who call me
fucking Tim, okay? So let's see. We need to wrap this shit up.
Oh.
Yeah, we gotta go. And,
some of us have been in this seat for a long while editing videos and shit.
It's late for you in Anima. Because it's like, what is it? 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock for you?
1:22.
And it's near midnight. I think it's 7 hours ahead of me. So
it's 20 minutes past midnight.
Tom, midweek you're gonna have a good midnight after dark thing, because Fantastic Four trailer is dropping Tuesday.
Ooh, interesting.
Any chance I could join you guys on that one, Tom? Because I'd love to talk about that trailer after I see it.
Probably.
If you behave, Gary, they might.
They always behave, just badly.
Yeah, badly.
Hey, Gambit's here. What's up, buddy? So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do. I do not like their cast for Reed Richards. I don't like that guy. I don't think he's a good actor. I think he's an annoying person. He's so fucking. He's good at dying. It's one thing he's really good at. He dies very well.
He wants to be the new Sean Bean. All right, Gary, let's put on a condom and wrap it up, okay?
Yeah, I'm wrapping it up right here. So, and by the way, Mephisto, and I mean this from the heart.
I like you. You have balls.
I truly do have balls.
And I don't know about anything else.
I got a fever.
For more balls. We're going to do that movie, Tom. We are doing that movie.
Tomorrow.
Durka, let's go.
So if you get free, you just want to pop in for a minute, do it. So anyway, I want to thank everybody for being here. We had a great show. That was fun today. Thanks for popping in, Tom.
No problem.
By the way, Gary,
Tom Baker.
Gary, I may not have balls, but I do have nuts.
I want to thank Tom Baker, Lord Thoth, Andy Morrow, Real Popcorn Geek. Guys, you really laid it out in the chat, man. Great trivia. Penny was here as always. Sander Hammerschlag, Sour and Baggins, thanks for subscribing today. I enjoyed your input on the chat. Paul Smith, who didn't seem to say too much today. 11 Alpha, Slasher Fred, Miss 80s, Shinatsky, Snortapoopas Cuber, our good buddy Snort, and Monkey Jeebus was here for a few minutes. Michael Decker, of course, showed up. It was good to see you again, dude. Price of Reason, always good to see you, man. And Gambit 87 showed up. Thanks, man. Great show, guys.
Hey, Mark C just arrived. Mark D.
It's Mark C with the big D. That's right. He's got that gigantic D on his hat. What did you think I was talking about?
No.
You guys are filthy.
Hey, Mark.
Mark, if it weren't for Mark, I wouldn't have learned how to do a lot of this stuff. Now Martin does a lot of it with the making the slideshows. But we're trying to get Mark. The problem we're having is some of the subtitles are absent in the slideshows, and I want to know how you do it because you get all of the subs in there. So anyway, everybody have a great weekend. We will see you tomorrow for more balls because we will be doing more balls tomorrow with the other movie that should have been a series, but they couldn't stand it. It was so horrifying to make that movie. Team America, World Police. But I'm looking, Martin, and you don't have the outro credits in here. anywhere.
Oh, wait.
Are you really retarded?
You're
Yes.
retarded. Yes. Oh, thank you. That's right. By the way, Tom, do you know how we opened the show today with your song?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That
gotta
was
get
fun.
that cut together with your video.
Oh, the video? Yeah, I just got that from a couple of videos online that have great moments with John Wayne. I thought it was really good. So anyway, everybody have a great Friday. Don't forget later, we got 8:00. We have John's going to be getting his ass kicked by another video game because he's just terrible. But he's fun to watch get killed.
It's still Fallout, right?
It's fun. And of course, don't forget you have Friday Night Frolics with Doomcock later. So make sure to check and see how he's doing tonight. Singing for hours. That guy does karaoke for hours. It's ridiculous.
And we have
what?
No.
No. All right. With that, fuck everybody. Have a great day. See you tomorrow. Bye, guys.
It's a back.
Were you about to say something there, Matt? What'd you say, Matt?
That's a bad hat, Larry.
Oh, that's a bad hat. Yeah, I'm wearing a hat. It's a bad
It takes the butter and it puts it on its skin.
That's all, folks.
Y'all come back now. You hear?